Hi, this is David Lockeretz with FindMyMusicTeacher.com. I'm often asked, how many scales do you need to know? In music, there are hundreds of different scales, and they all have their own characteristic sound based on which notes are there. Some sound happy, some sound sadder, some might sound a little bit exotic. But out of all those scales, there's really only 5 that I think everyone needs to know. If you're studying advanced levels of music, like theory or composition or jazz improv, you may need to know more. But the 5 that I think everyone should know are major, minor, Mixolydian, Dorian, and blues, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each one. The major is probably the most common scale in all of music, and it sounds like this. A good example of a song that uses the major scale is Do Re Mi from The Sound of Music. It just walks right up the scale. By the way, when I say that a song uses the scale, it doesn't necessarily mean that all the notes come from major, it just means that most of them do. Or at least most of them. Sometimes it will be all of them. And that's what gives a song its characteristic sound. So here we go. And you get the idea. A song that walks right down the major scale is the can-can. Right down the scale. Now, the minor scale sounds a little bit darker. Here's how it goes. And a beautiful example of this comes from the film Star Wars. I don't think it's an accident that when John Williams was writing Darth Vader's theme, he used the minor to create that sense of forbidding and just Darth Vader. He's evil. Here we go. Notice how if I use the major scale to play that same melody, it is not going to sound intimidating. Doesn't quite work the same way, does it? So that's major and minor. Now we're going to move on to the modes. Modes are similar to major and minor scales. They also have 7 notes, and as a matter of fact, technically major and minor are modes as well. The major is often called the Ionian mode, and the minor is also called the Aeolian mode. So next time someone tries to impress you by saying, this piece of music appears to be composed in the Ionian mode, you can say, yeah, you're right, it is in major. So here's the Mixolydian, which we often call Mixo for short. It's very similar to major. As a matter of fact, there's only 1 note difference. So when I play it, see if you can pick it out. And it's the second to last note before I get back up to the octave. Great example of a song that uses the Mixolydian is Birthday by the Beatles. Now if I change that 1 note and play it with the major scale instead, that 1 note will make a difference and it'll sound off. Doesn't quite work as well, does it? Now we're going to play the Dorian scale. The Dorian is very similar to minor. There's only 1 note different there, so see if you can pick it out. It's the 6th note there, and a great example of a song that uses the Dorian is Scarborough Fair, an old folk song that was made famous by Simon and Garfunkel. So at the end there, that's your Dorian, I should say, your raised 6th degree there. And again, if we use minor, it's going to sound off. So again, that 1 note makes a difference. A more contemporary example is from Santana, a song actually originally written by Tito Puente, but made famous by Santana, Oye Como Va. So if I play it in minor, it's going to sound like this. So again, 1 note makes a lot of difference. The last scale we're going to talk about is the blues scale, which is used in, well, imagine this, blues music, also a lot of rock and jazz. An example of a famous rock song that uses the blues scale very nicely is Sunshine of Your Love by Cream. examples include Smoke on the Water, and Bad by the late great Michael Jackson. So there you go. Those are a few examples of songs that use some of these most common scales. This is David Lockretz from FindMyMusicTeacher.com. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it helpful, and I hope this helps get you familiar with the sound of these scales. Feel free to email me if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for other songs I could use to illustrate these scales. Always looking for feedback. Always like to know that people are watching my stuff and enjoying it. And you can do so at david@findmymusicteacher.com. Thanks a lot for watching. Now go practice your scales.